Houday, Bengals fans. We are finally here, ready to break some Bengals news. It's been a long day of waiting, dealing with internet outages for X and being impatient and frantically refreshing things. And we're finally here to drop some news. The Bengals have announced a outside free agent signing from the Green Bay Packers, TJ Slayton, 6'4", 330-pound defensive tackle. Earlier in the day, the Bengals did announce that they have re-signed BJ Hill. There's some Bengals fans that are mixed emotions on if they wanted to give BJ Hill that type of contract. BJ Hill gets 3 years, 30 million. TJ Slayton comes in on a 2-year deal worth 15.1 million. Seems to be a very economical deal. So I'll kick it to you guys. Mon's joining us from his living room, and Coach Owens was able to get on the phone, so we've got audio for Coach Owens. So Mon, why don't you give us your thoughts first?
Yeah, what a weird day for free agency. Sorry, I'm battling a little bit of a bug here, guys. I'm expecting a big wow move here and there, but it hasn't really materialized. I'm glad BJ Hill returned. TJ Slayton, he fills a need. Bengals need more bodies. He's a bigger bodied guy. Looking at his PFF ranking, yeah, he had I think the Bengals are rolling the dice here because 2023, 2022. He was a highly rated prospect. He had an off year last year, according to PFF. And, I think they're hoping that he reverts back to his better play from 2023. He's very familiar for our new defensive line coach. A lot of people in the SEC. He's a former Florida Gator. Big guy. He started a lot of football games. He makes that room a lot better. And we've been preaching this for months. The Bengals need to get bigger at the defensive line, and they need to get better, and I think they have. I think he's better than any of the reserves that we currently have or on par with some of them. And I'm glad we got him, and I hope we're not done because we still need to tackle more defensive linemen and interior offensive linemen.
Jake, what about you? What do you think about this signing?
Yeah, I mean, like Mon said, I mean, the Bengals had to focus at the interior of the defensive line, just like now it's time, I think, to start positioning towards the interior of the offensive line. But, obviously, first of all, BJ Hill coming back, I really didn't think was going to be a possibility, but I think that's a huge signing. I think it's bigger than what people think it is. Again, he was our second best defensive lineman last year. He played really well. He's played really well. He hasn't really had a bad year for us. He is a solid. He is a solid 3 tech / 2 tech. I think you know he is a incredible leader in the locker room. You saw how excited Mike Gesicki was when he found out that BJ Hill re-signed when he was at the podium for his presser today. So the Bengals get BJ on a 3-year. I think it's 32, 33 mil, but only 16 million guaranteed. It's a really good deal, and you bring back some of that leadership that Mon and I stress about every single week on our show, how important that leadership is. And so you get BJ back. Samaje Perine is that's a great addition. 2 years, a little over 3 million. I mean, he's already comes in as the best pass pro guy at running back. We knew that this was even a possibility that they were going to bring back Samaje. They didn't want to lose him, the first time around. So I love this, especially since Patrick Mahomes blew off his handshake. No doubt Samaje wants some retribution for that from Patrick Mahomes. And then, I don't know a lot about TJ Slayton. I know that he's played a lot of NFL football games. I mean, he started every game for the Packers the last 2 years. That's obviously 34 games plus playoffs on a Packers defense that was solid. So he's a true nose tackle. He will join the room with McKinley Jackson at that position. I think the Bengals still are going to draft first or second round at nose tackle or defensive tackle. But I mean, this is what we wanted. We wanted to see this from the Bengals 2 years, 15 million. It's a good deal. I mean, it's a good deal, especially since I think the Bengals still want to try to get Trey Hendrickson done. You can't be throwing a ton of money. Definitely not Milton Williams money. 26 million a year is crazy for a guy that's really only had one good year. So I like
Yeah.
this deal. I think we needed a big guy, and he's a big guy.
Yeah, and so just to get reading some more information on here, TJ Slayton rated amongst all defensive linemen in ESPN's Run Stop win rate, he was number one. So he is, to me, maybe this is our DJ Reader replacement, 1 year too late. Bringing a guy like that in that's really good against the run, uh, really going to solidify those things. And let's not forget Jerry Montgomery. Was he not the defensive line coach in Green Bay? So a guy that Jerry Montgomery, I'm sure, is familiar with. That's got to play dividends, and you get him on a. It's not a bad deal. You know, it's not the huge signing that we were hoping for. We're hoping to see one of those big guard signings, but it's a step in the right direction, I think. And we debated on here. We've gone back and forth on the P Ryan thing. We didn't really bring P Ryan up too much, but we went back and forth on bringing in that Thunder to the Chase Brown Lightning, and P Ryan is exactly that. He's the guy that you can bring in that can just hammer the line and still catch it on third down and still be shifty when you get out there. So I love the bringing P Ryan back. I hope it doesn't dissuade them from going and getting another running back in the draft because that room's not really deep. But I think it does add a little bit of a benefit and a little bit more of a power game to our backfield that we've been trying to get since we lost him. Lon, what do you think about Samaje?
No, I'm glad he's back. I was always a big fan of his. He knows the offense. He was a solid player. I was hoping it would happen last year, but obviously he went to Kansas City, and it's good to have him back. He knows the system. He's a valuable player. I'm glad BJ Hill's back. Yeah, again, Jake, you hit it right on the head. He was one of our better defensive players last year on a defense that was horrible. So you got to keep the ones that were good. You got to. And I'm glad they did. But like we talked about with Slayton, they can't be done. When it comes to that defensive line, it has to come in waves. They don't have a true superstar. It's up in the air with Trey. I don't expect them to be back. So it's going to have to come in waves. They're going to have to add a couple pieces in the draft, add some more in this, and just get a little better. And the existing guys that have been on this team for 3 or 4 years, this coaching staff, you mentioned Jerry Montgomery, they have to get 10, 15, 20% better play from all of those guys. And that's going to be our recipe for success. There's been some massive overpays with some free agents so far in free agency. That happens every year. And that, it is what it is. I would like to see the Bengals. There's still some quality players out there that they could pick off and help improve this roster.
Yeah. So breaking news here, not Bengals news, but breaking nonetheless. The Commanders are sending a second and a fourth rounder to the Texans for Laramie Tunsil. So that's
Holy
a
cow!
pretty
You gotta be kidding me.
pretty big trade pulled off here on the first day of free agency. Commanders are going to be something else. I also just announced that the Commanders are signing Jeremy Chin to a 2-year deal. So Commanders are recognizing that they got a young quarterback on a rookie deal, and they are going all in just like we had hoped that the Bengals would. Um, yeah. So let's talk about some of those guys that have gone off the board that maybe we were targeting or in a dream scenario we would go after. Patrick McCarry, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. What do you guys think about those deals? And is there any chance you would have ever wanted the Bengals to give out those type of contracts to those guys? Maybe Jake, you can give us your opinion first.
Well, I don't know if I broke up, but I talked a little bit about that Milton Williams deal earlier. I just think I think that's way overpaid. 26 million a year for a guy that really has only really had 1 year of shine. I just think that's insane. The Sweat deal's not too it's not too bad. It's not too far out of the realm of. I think it was like 4 years, 70 something million. I think that's probably right on par. For me, my guys are still there. Will Freeze and Mekhi Becton are still there. So unless something's happened in the last 10 minutes that we've been on the show, I really hope one of those guards goes to Cincinnati here today. But again, I think the Bengals have a plan in place, and I think you're going to see one of those guards going to Cincinnati very soon. And I still think they're working on their own guys. I think they're working on T. Higgins still. I think they're trying to get that done. Before the new year officially starts. So I think. I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't know maybe if the Bengals do go after an edge guy. If they don't go after an edge guy, I think that they feel like Trey Hendrickson is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. I think that if you don't see the Bengals sign one of these top edge rushers that are left, then I think it's a good bet that the Bengals are planning on having Trey Hendrickson back next year.
Mon, how about you? Any
Yeah.
guys that you would have wanted us to take a swing at for the deals they got?
Milton Williams, that's a big contract, but I think he's a hell of a football player. I would love to have a talent like that. We haven't really had somebody like that since Geno and Larry O. I mean, Larry O was electric for the Bengals that one year he was there. He's available now, but he's a little older, coming off another injury. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, it's a going price for some of these guys. Would I like the Bengals to sign some of them? Yeah, maybe I would, but that's not going to happen. I just want them to get better. There's still a lot of really quality players out there, and I just hope they keep on, chipping away. Higgins and Chase is going to happen. I wish it would have happened already. Becton would be a great get at guard. There's a lot of older guys there. Zeitler, Sheriff. They would be Band-Aids, obviously 1 or 2 year Band-Aids, but they would definitely improve that room, and it needs to be because, we've preached about it. Our guard play has been terrible. And I think they'll add a piece today, hopefully, or maybe tomorrow. A lot of good players left, a lot of really good players. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, an
And the
interesting
safety,
note.
I think the safety market too, guys, right? I mean, Eric, the safety market, we've talked about that being a possible target for the Bengals. You've seen a couple safeties go off the board. Obviously, the big dog is still there. It's going to be interesting to see if the Bengals jump into that safety market or if they're comfortable with what they have. I just can't imagine that they're comfortable with Geno Stone in battle right now going into the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe there's a target there too for Cincinnati.
Yeah, you have to look at Geno Stone's contract and say if you can get a star safety, if you can get Javon Holland for, I don't know what his projected contract is, but Geno Stone's getting 8 million, 9 million next year. Why wouldn't you pay 4 to 5 million more for a definite upgrade? So I wouldn't be opposed to that. I do think that they held on to Geno Stone without making a final decision on him. I think they can be saying, "Hey, if we get somebody better, then we'll walk away." But until that point, we're not going to. Back to the Milton Williams thing. This fantastic fact came up earlier. He's getting 26 million a year. That's the largest contract ever paid by the Patriots. Tom Brady never made 26 million a year in New England. All those years that obviously it's a different salary cap era that we're in now, but even up till 2019, he took less money to sign guys. It wasn't until he went to Tampa that he actually made some money. So biggest per year contract paid by the Patriots, and yet they call the Bengals cheap. So it's a real interesting world to live in. Um, any guards that have signed that you guys are disappointed that are gone? I think the one big one that's off the board. I think I can't remember the name, but it averaged out to 19 million a year. Did I do the math right on that?
Is it Patrick McCarry from the Ravens? Is that what you're talking about? Everybody
I'm
thought
talking about the other one. The one that signed was
Oh,
either for the
Banks.
night.
Banks. You talking about Banks?
Thanks.
Aaron Banks, yeah, that's a pretty hefty price. I didn't expect him to get that much. I thought Banks and McCarry could be in the Bengals range between 8 to 13 million a year, but they both blew that out of the water. So what does that tell you about Fries, and what does that tell you about some other guys? if they're getting those contracts, I fully expect Fries to get much more than that, unless people
That's
are
it.
worried about that injury.
But everybody's saying that Aaron Banks was the top guard, which he's the first. I didn't know who he was, so I don't know how he was the first guard or the top guard out there. But he gets 4 years, 77 million. So we're talking 19 million a year for a guard. If he was rated above, I hope he was rated above Fries, because that means that, we might be looking at 16, 18 million for him. Even that's a lot of money to pay for a guard for the Bengals. Do you think that we're even going to be playing in that market? Because that's a hefty price tag for a guard.
I'll just say this real quick. If the Bengals drafted a guard today or next month at 17 or 49, that 4 years later is considered one of the best guards in football, they better. You know, all I'm saying is, like, us as Bengal fans are sort of conditioned to think like, oh, you can't pay a guard that much. Aaron Banks has started multiple years with the San Francisco 49ers, considered one of the best guards in football. Yeah, he's had some injury issues too. Some Pro Football Focus had him like 70 ranked. Some other people had him in the 40s. So the people that rank free agents, they're sort of all over the place. That's just a going rate for a quality player. And, it's just one of those things. I don't want to bash the Bengals. I think I bash them too much. But when it comes to good, I really do. I really do. But when they draft quality players, that is the going price. We have the Bengals price and then the NFL's price. And yeah, we can't wrap our heads around it because we're Bengals and we know Bengals don't pay that. But they're going to have to if they want to draft and develop some stud players that we expect them to do over these next couple years.
Yeah, and
And
they got
real
to start
quick,
valuing the guard position too. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
I was going to say the Jeremy Chin actually played for the Commanders. He's signing with the Raiders. Jeremy Chin to the Raiders. He was with the Commanders, but he is signing
Okay.
with the Raiders. So that's another safety again, that, though off the board. And I know we're trying to talk O line, D line, but I really think the Bengals need to jump on one of these safeties before they are gone, because drafting one just does not make any sense to me whatsoever. I would like to see another veteran come in and fix the safety room. But as far as I do want to say this too about the TJ Slayton thing. Mon was right on the money. In 2023 he was ranked in the 20s as far as defensive tackles go, and had an off year last year for whatever reason. But I would like to see guard wise again Will Freeze or Mekhi Becton. I think, like Mon said, if you want one of those guys, you're going to have to pay top dollar, and the Bengals are just going to have to do it. I mean, they talked about it all off season already. They moved on from Kappa for a reason. That was not to draft his replacement. So there's got to be a plan in place to go out and spend some money on one of these big time guards. And Mekhi Becton just makes sense, right? I mean, he was in last year. Burrow took him out for dinner. They were very close to signing. We thought there was going to be a deal done, and it fell through at the end for whatever reason. I'm assuming because of Frank Pollock. We just blame him for everything else, so why not? So hopefully Mekhi Becton's going to be in stripes.
So the other thing that so circling back on this breaking news of Laramie Tunsil being traded, you think that takes the Commanders out of the TJ or the Trey Hendrickson sweepstakes? They don't have many picks left. I think they still have their first round pick left, but that could take them out of it. Plus cash wise, they got to pay him. Do you think that takes them out, Mon?
Who was that again? I'm sorry.
So the Commanders taking this big
Oh,
swing and getting rid of their draft capital, do you think that that's going to take them out of the Trey Hendrickson market, because they're going to have to lose their first round pick. They won't have a second round pick to offer us. And
yeah,
on top
he's
of
not.
that, they'll have to pay him.
If they gave up a second and a fourth, there's no way they're going to trade anymore. They won't trade their first. If Trey Hendrickson's going to play, he's going to have to. If he's going to get traded, it's going to have to be to a different team. It won't be the Commanders. But that's one hell of a trade for them because Tunsil's a good player.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to hurt CJ Stroud. Okay, we're nothing's breaking for the Bengals here, so we're probably gonna jump out of here. Before we do, assuming nothing happens in the next hour and a half, because we do want to come back at 5:30, or if there's another signing, we do want to come back and do another quick show. But grading first day of free agency, why don't you give us success that as defined by the Bengals Pulse? What does success look like getting to 9 o'clock tonight, Mon?
Well, the question is currently what we signed or what I would want. Clarify that for me. The current activity for the
Let's
Bengals.
the What makes Mon sleep well tonight? The Bengals have
Uh,
to do X, Y, and Z for Mon to get a good night's sleep.
Sign another defensive tackle tonight or a defensive end, and sign one of the better guards, Freeze, Jenkins, even the older guys, Zeitler or Sheriff, one of them. I would feel much better. And I'm telling you right now, we are very young on defense. I would love to see another linebacker and or defensive back. I would love to see that because, guys, we're going to have some growing pains next year on defense early in the season. I expect them to be a lot better. But a lot of these young guys that should have played the last couple of years are going to start playing. They're going to take some lumps, but they'll get better. I'd like to see a couple more vets come in to help mentor them and get them ready.
For sure. Quick update on the Commanders trade. They gave up a 2026 second rounder, so they still have a second round pick this year. I'm not accepting it for trade because that's like what the fourth to last pick in the second round. Coach Jake, what do the Bengals need to do for you to sleep well tonight?
It's very easy. Re-sign Mike Hilton, sign T. Higgins, go out and get Mekhi Becton, and go get me a safety, and I'll sleep good tonight. Not very easy. I'm not asking for a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, you might need some melatonin. That's asked. I don't think the TA. I would be. It would be awesome if the T Higgins news breaks today. Was a little frustrated with the Bengals to send a push notification while Twitter was down, and it was the Gasecki press conference. I think they kind of did him dirty by having a press conference while we're all waiting for free agency news. But it is what it is. You know, he had some good sound bites that came out of there. So yeah, Jake wants T. Higgins. You might as well throw Jamar in there. T. Higgins, Jamar, Trey Hendrickson,
I'm
Mekhi
just.
Becton,
I'm going to be
Javon
realistic.
Holland.
I'm going to be realistic. Just give me Holland
Okay.
and Becton and Hilton and T, and I'm good.
Okay. Just realistic. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for waiting around all day for some breaking news. If we get another big signing here, we will plan to jump back on and give you our thoughts on the signing. And hopefully there's one or two, and we can have a bigger show and bring Zim in here. We'll see how it goes. And
See you guys later.
well, yeah, let's play the Taylor Swift music, feeling like 22. Go back to 22 where we signed everyone. So
Who day? Who
I'm gonna
day?
I'm gonna go manifest it. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you soon.